Salutations, boys and girls, and kiddos of all ages. Welcome to another episode of Posing Action Figures with Toy the Poser, where I am your host, Toy the Poser. And today we're just going to hop right into it with this video, because as you can see behind me, this character deserves no real introduction. But for anybody that does need one, we'll do that for you. Which also means that I would like to thank anyone that's new to my videos, and also would like to thank all the previous kiddos that's subscribed and keeps following. And thank you very much. But for all newcomers, I would like to say, this is not your average regular toy review channel and unboxing. Just a little showcasing of things I like to collect toy-wise, and yeah, an example or explanation of maybe what they are and why, which also comes with a little side of rant, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure this video won't be any different. So behind the camera, I go into giant mode so we can feature or showcase the featured action figure, whatever, you know what I mean. Whoop. And coming in on our rotating base here, we have the Marvel Legends Vision from the Void Build-A-Figure wave. And as you know, as I like to say, I have a vision, and so this video won't end up being like 3 hours long. All right, this is the Marvel Legends Vision from, I think, like 2000. Let me see if I can see. Yes, 2002. It says it on his back leg. And me personally, of course, I'm not going to talk a whole lot or give a whole lot of review on this one or whatever. At the time, we loved this thing, you know, the Toy Biz Marvel Legend, because they were doing things, and they still do, articulations that hold up to this day, and we wasn't seeing much in action figure forms and stuff like that. So this was their first 1/12 scale, because this figure is 6 inches tall. And yeah, so like I said, when I have a figure already, I don't need, and I hate getting new versions of them. But because of the Build-A-Figure wave, stuff like that, which I wasn't going to build the Void. I mean, I'm just going on a little tangent right now. I'm not going to talk a whole lot of. Wasn't going to build the Void, but since I had so many pieces and we got to this point, oh well. And when I do put them together, I'll let you guys know why. But yeah, so back in that day, you know, when we had this guy, came with our, you know, I'm not gonna do a whole lot of talking about him, but yes, it was certain things that people claim that they didn't like now, like the ball shoulders or the ball hips, which I still like the ball hips. They don't close all the way in most cases, but they do give you a full split. The articulations and things of that nature still, like I said, hold up to this day. Now, in certain cases, you got like stuff like this that just looks ugly. You know, but I understand why they did it and why they do it, stuff like that. However, another thing is that because of that, look at that, clapping together. All right, how many figures, you know, especially Marvel Legends, can clap their hands together? I'm looking at you, Maximum Hulk. Yes, and you didn't have to pay extra just to make your action figure clap his hands together. Also, what I also loved about this figure back in the day is that you see the cape was made of some kind of rubber, so it was pliable, even though it was, you know, still static and pre-wrinkled or whatever you want to call it, pre-molded to look like this. It was still movable. So when you put a flight stand back there, and it did come with a flight stand, which is the one I normally use, or sometimes use, which, let me see if I can find it. Oh, wait, I forgot. I'm using it as a prop to hold the backdrop up back there. But anyway, back to this Vision. All right. The 2002 version, Toy Biz version of them. Like I said, rubber cape, which I think they should still do, with things like capes and clothing and hair, which they don't. This is why when the hair is hard, or you have that hard plastic for their hair, they can't always pull their head back all the way. But enough ranting about this guy. As I was saying, I think this Vision was doing perfectly fine in my collection, and doing what it needed to do. The posing and all of that was still good, So yeah, I mean, I that's what I mean. And we have a lot of Visions, in action figures these days. A good handful of them that they made. So making a brand new one we didn't need. Okay, so yeah, we just gotta move on. All right, so with this one, all right, as you can see, as it spins there, you got Vision here. Let's pause here, and back of the package, it says the amazing android Vision commands unearthly powers and abilities to fight for humanity as a member of the Avengers. And I would tell you how we got to that point. Okay, give you a brief little history. As you can see, this is the last piece I need for the Void, to build the Void. We did videos on all these guys except King or Prince or whatever you want to call him, T'Challa, the Black Panther. And yeah, I will say this. Well, never mind. I will say this though. Well, never mind. I was gonna say at least this package did have all the Avengers. Although, there was once Avengers at some point in their lives. Well, except these two. Everybody on here was an Avenger or something like that. But during the time, well, we'll explain. All right, we'll explain. Okay, but all right. For people that like to see stuff like this, yes, I got it from Amazon, so I'm sorry it's covering up that barcode. I don't know if that hurts, helps, or does you any good for people that like to see those things. Top of the package, and we can go ahead and magical poof this guy up in. So magical poof, and okay, he's out of the package. As you can see, two alternate hands that are open palm or grabby hands or whatever you want to call them, because he got two fists, comes with two fists, and of course the Void head, all right, that comes in the package. All right, I think that makes the final piece of it. So, oh, want to say this too about the Toy Biz, all right, Vision. He had a power grid. This was one of the cool things that came on the package, all right, of the Toy Biz Marvel Legends. All right, they would, do things like this. Let me get this glare off of it. Okay, the came with its own power grid, and when I saw this and I looked at it, stats like his height, his weight, eyes, hair. Didn't know Vision had red eyes, but because it surely doesn't look like it. But anyway, okay. But as I was saying, what I noticed about this power grid is that it looks close to the one I've been showing from MarvelFandom.com. So yeah, Um, I like I said, I'm getting tired of the power grid because I couldn't fully understand them, or you know, but just for this video, since there's other things I want to show, I'll probably show them later. So, but this basically is the came with this guy. Okay, so enough of that. Get out of here. Whoop whoop whoop. And magical poof. This guy up out of this magical poof. All right, and okay. Let's stand you up there as I was saying. Okay, about this guy. Yes. Though, hopefully, the last Void Build-A-Fix piece, which is the head of the Void. Yes, it doesn't matter because I think and of course these left and right, grabby or whatever hands or whatever you want to call them. Okay, so let me see what kind of oh, he does have butterfly joints, which is cool. This is what I was talking about. I was like, I'm gonna put him on the rotating base in a second. Okay, but you see the hard plastic cape. It would have been much better if they just made the rubber cape like they did back in the day. All right, but I like the cloth cape now anyways. And I think you can take it off. Well, of course you can take it off. You know, if you pop the head off. Well, wow, that popped off pretty smooth. Okay. And let me put his head back on because he looks ridiculous without it. Okay. So, yeah. Even though certain articulations have been added, but like I said before, I mean, you got like a butterfly joint, but that can close back behind it. But even though it has a butterfly joint, look. you oh, I was about to say you still can't close his horns, but I was wrong. I mean, you pretty much have to squeeze them together, and then on top of that, it has like a uppercut here, so you have to raise the arm up, so it's not really in front of him. Yeah, so you see what I mean? So people complained about the ball shoulders and stuff like that. Of course they was right. They don't look, the silhouette of it doesn't look as smooth or anatomically correct like this mold does, like that. But you got so much more out of it. I mean, because when you pose it, you didn't have to worry about that too much. But I made that complaint when I say stuff. All right. Hey, oh, he had a boot cut. Groovy. As I try to put him in a cold pose, as my warning, like I like to say, heat up your figures, guys. It helps you move them and pose them when they come out of the package. Okay, I turn this leg around because I screwed that up. There we go. All right. I mean, this is not the best vision pose, I guess, but as we sit here and do this, I guess I'm let me see here. I don't know, what's a good vision pose? Cause well, I'm gonna tell you about all his powers and stuff anyway, but okay, let's not screw that. There we go. All right. All right, what's a good pose for him? Because he got his hand. Do I want to move it, take his hands out? Let's switch a hand. Okay. And we'll put in okay. Behold the vision. It's not too shabby for a cold pose, I guess. For this guy. Okay. So, all right. Let's put him on the spinning base and bring in the monitor. Okay. You know, still not 100% cool with this, you know, I guess flight stand or whatever you want to call it. But that's neither here nor there. It's getting the job done right now. And yes, I don't know. This is kind of a lame cold pose, but we'll try to maybe something else will come to mind later as we do this. So yeah, let's get the show on the road. All right, let's bring in the monitor. And we start here by saying something that you might already know. If you don't, the Vision is a superhero appearing in American comics published by Marvel Comics, created by Roy Thomas and artist John Buscema. The character first appeared in Avengers 57. That's that comic. All right. Published in 1968. The Vision is loosely based on the Timely Comics character of the same name, who was an alien from another dimension. And although, you know, this version of the Vision came, if I'm not mistaken, came later. Nope, I was wrong. That version of the Vision, whose name is Ericus, was first came out in Marvel Mystery Comics number 13. As you can see right there, that's him right there. All right. Back in 1940. So I won't have to do a whole lot of reading for you guys. This is Ericus, or his name, his identity, secret, of course. Birthplace is unrelived possible Shangri-La civilization, a dimension of smoke in Shangri-La. So yeah, an old character that has been featured in comics, you know, recently, or not recently, or previously, well, in modern times, I should say. And if you can see or read his little history and bio, there you go. All right. But Ares, or Arcus, I'm screwing up the name, I'm sure. Aarkus. You guys can help me out there if you want to. But I'm going to say Arcus, or just say Timely Comics Vision. All right. Yes, was a keeper of law on Smoke World of Shangri-La, and was responsible for capturing the criminal who committed the first murder of Smoke World in centuries. All right. So yeah, I mean, once again, brief little explanation of where this guy comes from, which is a rough, once again, you know, Marvel Comics, that which calls themselves the House of Ideas, keeps recycling names and superheroes and all that. So what are you gonna do? But enough about Arcus or Timely Comics Vision. Okay. On to now the original Vision, or this version of him that was was first created by a scientist by the name of Venus T. Horton, and the science android, if you want to call him that, Ultron. And I basically just using this picture of Ultron because he did look like that at one point. And Ultron was created by Henry Pym. Yes, the first Ant-Man. More about him later. But Ultron and... Would you stop it? All right. Ultron and Venus T. Horton created the very first Vision, who was created with using parts from the Human Torch. And no, it's not the Fantastic Four Johnny Storm Human Torch. It is Jim Hammond. Yes, his name was Jim Hammond, not Johnny Storm. The very first Human Torch was named Jim Hammond. All right, and he was created by Venus T. Horton. All right, so you see how this goes? Venus T. Horton created the Human Torch, or Jim Hammond Human Torch, not Johnny Storm. And with the parts, and I'm saying parts as if, because I'm trying to remember if he was an android at one point or a clone. But either way it go. All right. This version of the Human Torch, or parts of him, or however they did it in those days in the 40s, 1940s, with the parts of the Human Torch, of this Human Torch, this guy, and this guy, Ultron, created this guy. Okay, so we got it? Get it? Got it? Good? All right. Now, let's move on. Because later, this guy apparently, died, or whatever you want to call it, and got rebuilt as this guy again, but by Henry Hank Pym, who you may recognize as the original Ant-Man, who created Ultron, who you may recognize as Ultron, created Vision, or the new version of Vision, or the latest version, however you want to call it. All right, let's recap again. Should we? Sure, we should. All right. This guy was created by these two guys, Henry Hank Pym and Ultron. Henry Hank Pym, who you may recognize as Ant-Man, and Ultron, who you may recognize as Ultron. All right. However, but before all that started, the original version of this Vision was created by Ultron and Dr. Venus Horton, using parts from the first Human Torch, Jim Hammond. And yes, it was an android, because Jim Hammond, the original Human Torch, was created by Dr. Horton, and they all got the idea, even the writers, from the original 1940s Vision, whose name is Arcus, who's apparently still active in comics. All right. So with all that being said, we fast forward back up to this guy. All right. We're back on track now. Who was created by these two guys to basically, for evil purposes, basically to kill the Avengers. Who are these guys? I'll name them off later because, yeah, the Avengers always have a rotating roster. But at this time, it was these guys. Name them later. But one of those guys, who was this guy, didn't know that Ultron was basically building the Vision to, yeah, to attack them for evil purposes. However, the Vision turned against his evil creator, Ultron, and joined the Avengers. The Avengers, who at that time, the team consisted of Henry Hank Pym, his wife Janice Van Dyne. At the time, they weren't married. The Prince and later King of Wakanda, T'Challa. Why am I screwing this name up? All right. Clinton Barton, Anthony Tony Stark, and Thor, Odin's son. I mean, to be exact. Yes, his real name is Thor, Odin's son. And later, Wanda Maximoff, who Vision first met in issue 76 to be exact, who Wanda and the Vision ends up falling in love and getting married. Oh. And yes, so there you have it. And I hope that was somewhat enjoyable for you. Enjoy it. Why can't I talk today? But I can't really talk any. Enjoyable enough for you to see all of that, because it's time to wrap this up. And we're going to do it with a little size comparison. So first up, representing a 1/18 scale action figure, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Michelangelo from the 2012 Viacom line. And the reason I chose Mikey for this one, since the 1/12 scale is supposed to be the 1-to-1 comparison of real life. I just had some little talk or debate with somebody on how tall an actual Ninja Turtle is, I guess, compared in real life. And originally I thought that, because I swear I heard it on back in the 80s. Yeah, I'm at old. Turtles were closer to 6 feet tall than 5 feet tall. But somebody told me that if you look on the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle packaging of their toys, they let you know. And they were closer to 5 feet tall. So yeah, in 1988, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle package, on the back of it, but on the back of the package, it gives you down in the right corner or left, whatever it is to you, right here, it gives you a brief little, bio and description of their heights and stuff. And I'm not sure how well you guys can see it after I blow it up or enlarged it a little bit. Mikey, who they labeled as the Wow and Crazy Turtle. All right, he was 5 feet tall and 150 pounds. So, I mean, I'm not sure how well you guys can see that. Here's a Donatello one, just in case. Okay. It just look a little better. But, which, nowadays, they, I guess, classify Donnie as the taller, skinnier turtle. But back in the 80s, especially in 1988 on the package, he was one of the shortest one. Michelangelo was one of the tallest. So Donnie was 4 feet tall on 2 legs, as they say here. So basically what I was trying to do here, even though this is Mikey is just right under 4 inches, which is making him the 1/18 scale. That's why I'm doing it. And I guess in quote unquote real life, he would stand right, about this height tall to a, well, I guess above average human being, cause the average size Marvel Legends or 1/12 scale figure is 6 inches, which means this is where Stan the Man, my main man, Stan, comes in. And of course, he's your average 6-inch figure, which standing the average 1/12 scale figure, which, although, because of this hard cape and I'm trying to stand him, Vision's not really standing 100% erect. All right, so he's actually probably, if you ask me, 6 1/4. Okay, but compared all that to I guess a 1/10 scale figure, which is, this is where the McFarlane Batman comes in at, standing at 7 inches tall. So there you have it. 1/18 scale, 1/12 scale, these two, the average 6-inch, and a 1/10 scale, 7-inch scale. So, all right, fellas, you can scram now. And for redemption purposes, all right, I've got him in another cold pose, cause still didn't heat him up, but yeah, just to see, all right, just try to get him in another pose and on the rotating base there. All right, so that's pretty much it. So with that being said, okay, that was my interpretation. I don't know. Hold on. Okay, now I'm back in front of the camera just to say, would you get down from there? Whoop. Until then, guys, thanks for stopping by. And I guess on to the next video. So see you soon. Bye-bye for now.